Now, Mr. Zontal, over
Yes.
the 137 episodes we've done of this show, I've recommended a number of things to you.
You have.
And I would like to say that, for the most part, my recommendations have always been met with a, yeah, you were right.
So far.
One of the ones I have recommended the most has been Reacher.
I disagree. The one you recommended the most was The Boys.
I said one of the ones I've recommended
Okay.
the most. The Boys was absolutely high, but that's because it's more topical for the podcast. You have now finally got around to watching season 1 and 2.
Yeah, and do you know what's funny? It didn't even come about fully from me being like, I want to watch something. Connor's constantly gone on about Reacher. Now, don't get me wrong. I think I'd said like a few months back, like I caught a couple of episodes of the Reacher. Like my mate had already watched episode 1. I saw a bit of episode 2. Like, but I didn't pay full attention because I was like, I'll sit and watch this properly at some point.
Yeah.
But basically, yeah, I ended up before I get into me talking about Reacher, this came about because I watched The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, which
is that Henry Cavill and Alan Richardson?
Yeah,
Richardson.
It was the one, I think we talked about it in the news like way back at the start of the year when it was a trailer. And it's the ones where they're not your usual British military spies, sent undercover off the books to destroy Nazi boats.
Okay, cool. And so it's kind of...
It's very...
less James Bond spies, more working class spies vibe?
Yes. It's
okay.
Very Inglourious Bastards vibes.
Okay.
Of like, everyone has their specialty. Definitely not by the book.
We're in the middle of a war, just get it done.
Bit of comedy. Because I think we watched the trailer and we both, the trailer was them on the boat laughing at each other as the like, Nazis are interrogated. It's a very good film. It's very funny in places. It's based off like an actual group of soldiers in the World War II that we had that were off the books, and so like loosely based on an actual. But yeah, it fits that same Inglourious Basterds vibes of undercover soldiers off the books doing it kind of not properly, fighting Nazis. Henry Cavill's great in it. Alan Richardson great in it. There's a lot of funny moments, some great action moments. But I finished that and I was like, because I was trying to think if I'd seen anything else of Alan Richardson, and I was like, I know he's in Reacher, and I was just like, that might have been the first film I've like seen of his, where like he's been main actor, and I was like, fuck it, let's put Reacher on. Finished season 1 at like 5 a.m. In my typical fashion, I put episode 1 on, was hooked, binged the whole thing.
See, it's really funny that that's your first interaction with Alan Richardson, because to me, and to a lot of people, Alan Richardson will always be Thad Castle from Blue Mountain State, which was a sitcom about college American football, where he played the captain of the team and the middle linebacker, who was a fucking moron, but really funny. So to me, he will always be Thad Castle.
Yeah, no, I don't think... I'm looking through his things now of what he's been in. Apparently he was in Smallville.
Yeah, no, he played Aquaman. He also played someone in Titans, Hawk.
Oh, okay.
He voice acted some DC characters. He's done a lot of stuff for DC.
Fair. But yeah, that's like watching Ungentlemanly Warfare into Reacher actually was quite similar vibes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I finally sat and watched Reacher, and the same that happened with The Boys where I binged it in a week, I binged this in like 2 days. I literally did a season a day, which is just perks of having lots of free time.
Yeah.
The show is very good. And I never doubted that it wasn't going to be, but like, it's very good. And I can see why you were recommending it so much.
It's very much one of them things of no matter how good you know something is going to be, you never know exactly in what way it's going to be good. So you still get to go, oh, okay, this is why everyone likes it so much. Because good is a concept that can apply to so many things, but knowing why it's good and
Yeah.
understanding that is like always the fun part of discovering something that's good. You're like, oh, it's good for that reason.
Yeah, I would say like I was pretty like from bits I'd seen, I was like, oh, it's gonna have good action. I'm sure it's gonna have a compelling story if Connor's recommending it. I didn't actually expect it to be so good in the way of like how much depth some of these characters have.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you said when I'd been messaging you at the group thing about watching it, you couldn't really remember season 1 very well, but
So
season 1
obviously,
is I'll
it's
do
like,
the rundown.
okay, yeah, cool, yeah,
He arrives in Margrave, visiting, having pie, gets arrested, accused of murder, ends up has an alibi. And we start to get this character of like, oh, he's crazy strong but very intelligent, but very like military-esque, direct with things. As the story goes on, eventually we find out it's his brother, and then it becomes a, oh, I'm going to figure this out. If you want to help me, i.e., the cops, you can help me. To which then it becomes, okay, we're doing this together because we've realized this whole fucking town's corrupt, including the cops. Now we're doing it off the books, but I keep doing things my way, and I don't give a shit about the law. Which overall, some incredible action. You get some great action moments through both seasons of this.
it's very explosive action. It doesn't. You don't necessarily get like
Yeah,
a Daredevil 5 minute hallway scene, but you get very powerful, quick bursts of action that
and some pretty
lend themselves
brutal
to the
fight scenes.
story really well. Yeah.
But I really like that first season because obviously I'm going in. I'd seen a bit of episode 2 and like the end of episode 2 into the episode 3. So it's like when I got to those bits, I was like, oh, okay, I remember these bits. After that, I was completely clueless. So like binging it meant as I'm going along, like I'm trying to figure it out. To which I was like, oh, the son's definitely the one that is like the killer. I thought the dad was more in charge, but then the son was just full on psycho, takes the corrupt dad out. But yeah, it all going wrong, and then we get these like he contacts Neagley, who he was part of special investigators, which the 110th, and you start to learn a little bit about where he came from. And you get like background on his brother with these flashbacks. And obviously it all comes to a head and there's the big end up like taking down a whole money laundering operation. And then the season ends with him being like, yeah, I'm gonna carry on just wandering.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, cool. Season 2, I love that season 2 went into the special investigators team.
Yes. It's really important to understand where he comes from to appreciate why he is the way he is.
Yes. As soon as like that first episode is like Neagley contacting, like, oh, okay, we're gonna get a bit of callback to some of these characters that were established in the first one. She's gonna have something for him. Then it's one of us has been killed.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit, I know where this is going. I will say, I'm kind of sad that so many of them got killed and we didn't get like a full squad.
Mm-hmm.
Season 2 is essentially someone seemingly is killing off the 110th.
Yeah.
Then you find out it's because there's like weapon deal going on the side. Some of them got too close because they found out about it. Then there's questions if Swan has betrayed them, who's one of the members. But like, and you're getting all these flashbacks to them as when they were in the 110th. And this, I definitely think season 2 really just like showed you a lot more depth to the to Reacher as a character, and just like really draws you into this is more than like just an action TV show. I really did enjoy season 2. I enjoyed both seasons. I will say I enjoyed season 2 a bit more because then you also got to pull in some of the characters from season 1,
Yes.
with Finley showing up and stuff. I'm intrigued to see where this goes next because we've now set a kind of standard of like he's going to arrive somewhere, as he's said in the other seasons, but shit goes wrong around him. It just like
Yeah.
trouble finds him. Something's going to happen. He's going to get involved with something. Somehow he's going to end up being linked to it, I presume.
Yeah.
Then it's going to like unravel all that.
The beauty of Reacher is the books. There are so many books, and they are good books. So there's a lot of depth for them to work through, which makes making a TV show work really well. So I can't remember if they're following the books directly in the release order, or if they're going chronological order, or if they are skipping some books to tell a more coherent story, or what. But that is exactly why the character and like you said, you're trying to like get ahead on the story is kind of a feeling you normally get from a book. And I think that's one of the biggest selling points of it. It takes that structure and it really makes it work. And as a result, you're left with these really compelling characters because they're distilling books and books of this character and putting it on the screen. It's a lot easier to work out how Neagley should behave after however many books where Neagley's appeared, and you've got the writer having written, say, I don't know how many books Neagley appears in, but say she's in 6 books. You're like, right, what's consistent with the character? I can act that way. And I think that really does, just like you say, it lends the authenticity. Reacher is it's weird. He's a very predictable character. You know kind of what he's going to do as the viewer. You're like, he is going to do what is morally right, but he doesn't mind breaking a few laws to do what's the morally right thing. Like in the very first part of season 2, when he's like, goes in to get a new jacket, and they spot something going wrong, and he's like, are you being held up right now? He's like, yeah. Is he in the gun? Is he in the car? Yeah. Has he got a gun? Okay, stay here. Bang! Deals with him. Takes the jacket back, and it's like, there's got blood on it.
Yeah, and still pays for like.
Yeah.
No, he is morally right, but then when someone's doing something wrong, he doesn't give a shit how he deals with it. He'll handle it on his own.
Yeah.
Even
is
if
that chaotic good or neutral good? I think it's neutral good.
Oh,
sorry. Is it? It's lawful, neutral,
it's not lawful.
Chaotic.
There's good, neutral, evil, lawful, neutral, chaotic. I would say maybe chaotic. He's not lawful.
No, he's definitely not lawful. It's got to be chaotic good.
Yeah, or neutral, chaotic. Well, he's in that realm of his own
he's
code.
In that corner.
I really enjoy though that, like, obviously from a glance you're gonna sit, like, if you watch a trailer or just like watch like a bit of an episode at a glance, it's a very action heavy, big burly main character. You're gonna be like, oh, big burly guy punches things, just gets like, but actually his character is really intelligent and like he has this deep moral code, but then zero like level of emotion, which just makes for a really interesting blend when mixed in with like the 1/10 as a family, and they're all very like in season 2 when he's finding out that, oh, so and so's married and has kids now. When did this happen? And Nico's like, well, you don't know anything. You don't know anything because you don't have a phone or an address. Like, what?
He's that friend that will always be there if you absolutely need him, but you don't need him on your wedding day. Is his view. But it's incredibly. I enjoy Reacher as a solo character because of the way you get stuff done, and then you get to him interacting with new people. But getting that in season 1, and then also getting to see what he's like with people he really deeply cares about, was also quite nice. And the first thing I said to you once you finished season 1 and 2, I was like, do you now understand why season 4's been greenlit before season 3's even come out? And it is. You look at season 1 and 2, of course, the people making the decision will have seen some of season 3, and they go, how big a check do you need for season 4? Because the show simply is that good. And it's the exact same reason I'm so excited for the Cross show.
Yeah, you were saying about that.
Because it's a similar concept. Alex Cross is a series of books. More psychological police officer. So it'll be a bit more maybe like psychological creepy horror than action and investigation. But it's the exact same concept. We're going to take a series of books about this kind of character, and we're going to turn a book into a season. And we're going to try and do our best job here. Which is why I'm so excited, because yes, it won't necessarily be the same people working on both, but it shows that Amazon is a studio that's allowing this kind of stuff to be done well. So just like when they announce an animated project, we go, they're not going to fuck with it.
Yeah.
It gives them a little bit of, I trust them to let the people do the thing.
They also know, or they're putting plenty more trust in the creators, because they've said they've seen through Reacher, oh, this is a format and a system that works really well. So if someone else comes to pitch and look, we've got a series of well-liked books.
Yeah.
Similar, this is the vibe. This is what we want to do. They go, yeah, well, we know that works as a format. So sure, we're in on it. And we'll let you do your thing.
I mean, Cross actually comes out next Thursday, 14th of November.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah. So, like, again, it's one of them things that I'm happy to see developing. Would you like to know one tiny little mini spoiler for season 3?
Now, before you say that, I want to just say, after watching that season 2, obviously knowing season 3 is coming and there is season 4 has also been greenlit. I'm sorry, but Swan, we didn't see his body. And in TV, and film, if you don't see a body, I refuse to accept that they're dead. All we saw was an eye and a finger, and someone can survive without them. And knowing like TV and that sort of like drama, like storylines, to have a 110 member show up down the line who they thought was dead because they saw his eye and finger.
Yeah, like, for a book series, it's the kind of thing that would.
It's one of those twists where you'll be like, "Oh shit, it's Swan. He's alive." Yeah. What?
If we say they're doing it in book order, which I don't know they are, this is book 2. In book 12, fucking Swan appears. That'd go hard, yeah. So the book that season 3 is based on has a character that Reacher has to deal with that is in the books described as much, much larger than Reacher.
Well, if they're gonna get an actor,
the actor has already been cast.
It's not the Mountain.
No, it's not. Reacher season 3 big guy. Olivier Richters.
Let me have a Google.
He is 7'2".
Jesus. Yeah.
He's a Dutch bodybuilder and actor.
He's the Dutch giant.
Yeah, he is massive.
Who's in Black Widow, apparently.
If you say so. So yeah, he will be in season 3. He is 7'2".
Fair.
Yeah.
That's going to be an interesting one.
That's going to be, I believe, what we call a heavy action sequence.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm glad you finally got around to watching it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And it's just another one of them things that even if we don't necessarily discuss on the podcast, we probably will, but even if we don't, it's always fun to have more shows that we both like because it's fucking awesome. And also, it probably means might be a bit quicker on the jump with Alex Cross as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if many of the same people are involved in it, or if they've just gone, book do well as TV show series. What is another successful book?
It could well be. And it could also just be that, like, they've gone, look, this is what we did with Reacher, and it was successful. We think this would really work over here if you guys want to use this as a blueprint.
Going to the author who wrote the Alex Cross books and going, hey, this is what we did with the Lee Child Jack Reacher series. How would you feel about us maybe doing that? Here is a check. as the author, you're probably going to go, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and they're also like, and you will have control of things.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh,
As
okay.
far as I know, Lee Child was decently involved in. And you've also got to remember, Lee Child was burnt with Reacher before when he got the films made.
See, I don't remember them.
So Jack Reacher, played by 6'6" Alan Richardson, and is massive, as Jack Reacher should be. Yeah, they cast Tom Cruise for the films.
I've
As I'm
just
sure you can
googled Tom
imagine,
Cruise
that
Jack
went down
Reacher,
really well
and it's
with
just
fans.
clicked that. Oh, I remember these films coming out, and now knowing the show, I'm immediately looking at that and going, that doesn't seem like it's going to work.
The fans of the books were not happy when Tom Cruise got cast. They couldn't believe it. They're like, what do you mean? This man is supposed to be a mountain that you can literally spot from 2 cities over.
Yeah.
You've cast 5'2" Tom Cruise.
It's funny that like that film will now be, people will think that's a different thing completely.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, very very much enjoyed this show. On anyone that listens that hasn't watched Reacher, I would go watch.
Yeah. The handsome deep voice is now telling you it's worth watching.
It is more than just an action TV show. There is a lot of depth there and a lot of interesting storylines and stuff. So
yeah, if you on any level enjoyed the Jack Reacher films, but you're like, oh, it's just a bit too action for me, the TV show solves that problem. They go, we're going to give you that action better and also give you more of a story to go alongside it. It's really, really good.